Hi there. I thought I was coming to record a written journal, and I still might, but suddenly my heart's kind of hurting. So let me look at that for a minute and see what it is. It's not really a hurt, but there's a heaviness. You know, um, I read Lauren's blog. I think it's Gorgo, it might be Gongo. I get her name wrong all the time. I'll put a link in the transcript. And she's kind of funny. She's a personality kid, I'll tell you. You know, her blog is enjoyable to read just because of her fine sense of humor. But somehow, some way, she always seems to pin it down. I think she writes them once a month when it comes to the energy. And what she said we've all been going through, according to her attunement, intuition, and channeling, is we're being cut free. And so there's massive letting go of any and everything that might hold us down, hold us back, all of our attachments. We're finding ourselves being set free of those. And, you know, that is certainly one way that I could look at what's been going on with me in the last month and say, yeah, works for me, you know. So I don't know about you, but like I said, I'll put a link in to her blog and you can check it out and see if what she says hits it right on. She also talks about, we are working, we're all a team together, but each one of us is also a team because we had a lot of elemental beings and light beings, angels, if you will, whatever you want to call them, ETs, whatever, working with us. The Native Americans, I think, call them their star brothers, working with us to help us make this move from one dimension of consciousness to the next. And so we're being converted pretty seriously. You know, the whole physicality is coming along with us. Uh, most of us, those that choose that trek anyway. Let's talk about that for a minute. You know, there are a lot of people who aren't going to make the trip with us. And I think there's a certain amount of sentimentality out there. We could all find a place within where we could wish that every single person on the planet would come along and we would all live happily ever after and that kind of rot. Um, there's no need for individuals if you're going to have a plain vanilla outcome like that. People get to make choices. And there are a lot of people very much in love with 3D, with the oomph and the vitality and the juice that runs through your veins as you're dealing with very physical kind of issues and enjoyments. And so people that, or beings that aren't finished with 3D, certainly are not going to be forced to leave it behind. I mean, how would that be? Come on, folks. And so, just like the people, now forgive me here, be in your heart, just like the people on 9/11 knew when they incarnated what was at the end of that ride. And there was a choosing there. That was a choice that they made. That was a world changing event. And if just one or two or three or 103 persons had crossed over, it wouldn't have been able to do that. And so there was a group intent there, a getting together and saying, okay, let's all get together and let's go out like this. Maybe they were the ones that most wanted deep inside to expose the farce of the government story, to finally have something happen that was just so beyond the pale and so ridiculous. I mean, those buildings, that was textbook demolition, was it not? If you run into a building on one side, isn't it going to fall down against on the other side, you know, and away from the impact? Uh, and it's too bizarre. They push it too far. You know, are we so incredulous? And I guess maybe up to now we have been, and maybe that's what brought about the need to have an event like that. And please stay in heart. Even if you lost family there, stay in heart and remember, we're not our bodies. We cannot die. Nobody and nothing ever dies. This water is being recycled. The atoms, the cells, everything. We're stardust. We're made of stardust. And so it's the bodies that are made of the stardust, not us. We're the light, we're the fire that incarnates here, that uses the material force field in the form. And so do what you can to stay in heart. If you have too much of a response to that, you might still be too identified with the body. We're just not that. And that makes life so much harder. If we think we're the body, then things that happen to the body and the personality and all of that are just so much harder to take because our world is so small and it's being threatened by this, that, or the other. When you're in your higher self, you're just so aware that you can't be threatened, you can't be hurt. It's just not a possibility. And there's such a peace that runs through this that I just wish I could gift the whole world with. But anyway, that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to share with you some musing I've been doing on, and I don't do this too much because what I'm going to do here is look at the future. And but it was in my present, and I was musing on the fact that we're all going. It's the sun that's ascending, really. People think the sun has many, many billions of years left when it's on its way out. Yesterday, the 12th of December, 2010, there were 3 major CMEs, coronal mass ejections. In a very short period, the sun has been doing a dance for some time now that's so thoroughly amazing. And, you know, just not the standard stuff. And according to the Syrian High Council, what they have revealed through their work with Patricia Corey, just like when we cross over at the end of a typical lifetime, we go through the tunnel and into the light. That is our cord that, you know, when you're dreaming, you're connected to your physical body by an astral cord. It's just a thin filament that's generally not seen. And when we leave the body, I guess, I don't know now, I'm on my own here, but I'm thinking we're going up through that cord and into the light. In a way, into a black hole and out into the white one. Well, according to the Syrian High Council, what's getting ready to happen is what has happened with other stars elsewhere, just like Sirius. I think it's Sirius B. Now, there's 3 suns in Sirius. There's A, B, and C. And I think it's Sirius B that isn't a bright, radiating, shining sun here in 3D. It ascended. And those on the Syrian High Council made their ascension with their sun in their day when that happened. And what they say is that the sun goes through its own astral cord. and comes out in higher dimensions. And apparently, often what's left in 3D is a dwarf of some kind, something that doesn't have the radiation. And so maybe that's what's getting, just exactly what's getting ready to happen with our sun. I mean, come on, the whole solar system's been heating up. The farce that has been played out on this planet with Al Gore and global warming is of cosmic proportions. I mean, you know, he's made a fool of himself, not just here on Earth. I expect everybody's laughing. Mercury has global warming. Jupiter has global warming. They all do. And so carbon footprints, you know, it's just an excuse for more taxation and more control. Control of people and economy and that kind of thing. And it's so transparent. It's as transparent as 9/11 that it's a farce. And yet, the dark side has such control of everything and everyone that's in power, of the media and of science and of education and all that. And so they can manage to carry their story. And I'm sure there's a lot of innocent people out there that still believe if it's said on the news, it must be true. You know, if somebody, a big figure like Al Gore says something, it must be the case. I'm sure there's all kinds of people. I'm having a lot of fun with one part of awakening, and that's recognizing that just as I am a sovereign being, so is everyone else. And it's not up to me to fix them. They don't need fixing, they're fine. Everyone's on their own unique individual path. I know, you don't need those two words together, but anyway, everyone's path is their own, and it's mighty arrogant of us to think that we know what's best for someone else. I mean, if we're talking about being fed and clothed and having the basic needs of life taken care of, sure, we can generalize and say if you're wearing a body, it needs some basic necessities. But when we go beyond that, most often we go too far. And we generate a lot of our own unhappiness, our own sadness, our sorrowing, our suffering that way. We're imagining things, folks. We really are. We're needing to, I think, we're needing to rise up into higher dimensions to look at some of these things and to find that peace, to realize we're all sovereign beings and we get to write our own ticket. We get to live life our own way. Now, the thing is, again, who am I? What's your answer? What's your definition of your identity? If you're identifying with the body, then saying what I just said makes no sense. Because you know you're not writing your own ticket. If you were, you would definitely script your life quite differently. You'd fire the script writer, wouldn't you? Well, it's at the higher level. It's our higher self, thank God, that is making those kinds of choices for us. Because so often, you know, what we go through that's really grueling and we think very terrible at the time, we get on the other side of it and we look at the changes that have been wrought in us and we say, thank you. We say, oh my God, thank you. You know, I'm so grateful. Not necessarily for what it felt like going through that, but for the results. And so when we take a broader vision, a higher perspective, we gain such a level of peace and understanding that's it's magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. So just imagine that. Nobody's talking about it. And yet, you know, the secret sciences, the black ops and all that, the Montauk Project, all the kind of things that they've been doing, they're time travelers, my friends. The government's been into time travel for decades and decades. And they know what's ahead. And it's mighty strange and suspicious that everyone has been so quiet about what's going on with the sun. And don't you think it's kind of strange that the Vatican has astronomers and even satellites, that they're using money for such things, money donated in churches? to fund that kind of thing and that exploration. And of course, if you haven't heard by now, the Vatican says it's quite okay to believe in ET. And furthermore, if there are ETs out there, they're our brethren, they're our brothers. They're also God's creatures. That's their official line. You just have to laugh, but that's okay too. I mean, for whatever their motivation to come out with something honest and decent, we don't want to slap them down for it. Truth is nice. All right, so, but what do you think of that? I mean, isn't that freaking amazing to think of the sun, like the sun as a stargate, and we're all going into the sun. We're following the sun, and in effect going through the sun as well with this thing called ascension that the Andromedans choose to call upliftment. It's a natural thing. There is much life in cosmos. And we're certainly not the first ones to transit from one plane or dimension to a higher one. That's common. There are committees and groups of beings, Andromedans and so on, that's their assignment, is to help civilizations, because they've been there and done that, and they know about it. And they are the elder brothers. They are the guides, the teachers. The ones who can give us a little nudge here and a little hint there and, help it to come out right. So I hadn't heard it spoken. It's in the Kori books, the Syrian revelations. You'll read about this. You'll read about how exactly the DNA is doing its thing, and how all of that junk DNA that's disconnected from anything and just floating around loose, the manner in which that is reforming itself, so that I think many of us now have a triple helix. Children are being born with 3 strands of DNA, and they have a very definite teaching that there are indeed 12 strands, and that as they restructure and heal and reknit themselves back together, they will come on by 3s. And so after 3, you won't get the 4th strand. The next thing that will happen is that you'll get strands 4, 5, and 6. And so it's pretty amazing. Mostly what they say as far as being completely restored to 12-stranded beings is that for the huge bulk of people, this will happen in transit as we are ascending. The final connections will come online, come on board. Our frequency, we're not vibrating high enough. And, we're dealing with electromagnetism and things that can short out. You don't want to run high tension line current into your iron or your, telephone or something. It's just stupid. And so it's no kindness to try to force reconnection of DNA. Bodies are wiser than people are. They know what to do. They know how to do it. One of the best things we can do to help the body with all of its functions, but especially with the healing of the DNA, is drink lots of water. And to bless the water, I keep wanting to say Michio Kaku, Masuro Emoto has showed us what one simple word spoken over water, the immediate, the beautiful restructuring that it creates. And so bless your water, even if it's tap water. Bless your water. One thing that you can do if you're drinking water from the tap is leave it sit out for a day, and the chlorine at least evaporates off. I don't know if anything else does, but there's all kinds of little things that can be done. But let's not be intimidated by physical things, because we're mighty spiritual beings and we have dominion over these things. And so with the word, you can bless that water and you can cleanse and heal it. And so I don't think it pays to consider that we're so limited, that all these things that are being done to the environment have ultimate power over us. They don't. And but it's based on belief. And so if we have these beliefs, if we don't get rid of the beliefs that have been programmed into us, that we are subject to all these things, then, we make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's one of the big reasons to pull out of the media, newspaper, radio, TV, all of it. You can find other sources to keep track of what's happening. The internet is useful, and we're finding people more and more getting their information from people, and it's becoming more of a grassroots thing as far as passing on what is news and what's important, and we're able to do research that way. Okay, this has been kind of a strange one, hasn't it? Is there anything else in there? No, I don't think so. Okay, good day, my friends. Enjoy. Why not? It's a choice.